Yo, what up, buddies? We are no, wait, I'm not design buddies anymore. Yeah, all right.
From the
Yo,
top.
what up? Oh. All right. Yo, what up, rich creators? Today we're with our friend Zach. Zach has big D energy. D for data, by the way. So Zach started as a data scientist, and I first discovered Zach. I met Zach in person in SF. I think it was like at Mission Control, but I've been following Zach on LinkedIn for a couple of years. I love Zach's posts on LinkedIn. He's very authentic about like even like mental health, his personal journey, and also shares like a lot of practical advice about data science. And I feel like Zach is a great example of creators who've diversified their income. So over the past year, I've seen Zach do like a data science boot camp, have like made so much money from like the cohort stuff, the data science cohort. Also do a creator house in Thailand, a 24-hour live stream, go to Burning Man, and have another Costa Rica. So like Zach, how's life? What have you been
Y-
up to in this day and
Yeah.
age? Yeah.
Hey, thank you so much. I'm glad to be here. I think that this is gonna be I this type of podcast is something that's like really gonna be shaping the minds of the future, right? Of like I think one of the big things that like I relate to your story, Grace, is this whole idea of like the 9 to 5 and like working a job is just like I don't know why do that when you have the internet. Like I don't know. It's like I don't. I would rather have thousands of little bosses than one big boss who can just ruin my life. And like I think that that's like the. It's a very interesting shift, right? A very interesting shift of like where things are going, and I think that like more and more people are going that way, right? And it's like yeah, it's been amazing. Yeah. So yeah, I've been a creator for like about 5 years now, like making content almost every day, and it's been a wild journey for sure.
What was the hardest part of your journey so far in the last 5 years?
Ooh, that's a good one. I think that there was a couple, like, cause I think a big thing that a lot of people do, a lot of creators, is that they have a job. They have a job that they're working. And for me, I was working at Airbnb when I first started making content on LinkedIn. And then over time, they start to get traction. They start to get traction. And I remember, like, for me, that first year, like 2021, was like, I got so much traction, right? It was insane. I remember that year I ended the year on LinkedIn with 150,000 followers, like just in my first year on LinkedIn. And and then like what ends up happening is like when you're working a job and being a creator is a lot of times like if you're like an ambitious person, you have goals of wanting to do more, right? And you want to do more everywhere, right? And so like and one of the things for me was like, I was like, I wanted to keep growing because I was a staff engineer at Airbnb, which is already a pretty high pressure role to begin with. And like, I wanted to be a principal. I wanted to be principal engineer at Airbnb. That was like, I definitely, because that was my vision. That vision was like old. That vision is like from like when I was a boy. Like, I was like, I want to be a big tech principal engineer. I want to be the highest engineer in big tech, right? And so like then what ended up happening was like I had these two dreams that were competing with each other, right? This new creator dream of building community and finding all my people, and then this other dream of like, well, I need to get promoted because I was good at it. I mean, I've been getting promoted every 2 years in big tech for the last like 7 years, so I'm like pretty good at the big tech corporate game too. And then this all kind of like it was interesting. I feel like there was a moment where this kind of broke me. This broke me in 2022. It was like in April and May of 2022 when like there was a lot of pressure where I was like, okay, I'm not just doing LinkedIn now. I'm also doing YouTube, right? I was doing YouTube and LinkedIn at that point. I was trying to do 2 videos a week on YouTube and then post every day on LinkedIn and work my job. That was my creator schedule. And like I experienced like one of the most massive burnouts because during that time, what happened was I don't know if you guys remember or familiar with the Great Resignation. There was like a period of time in 2022 when like a bunch of companies, a bunch of like Airbnb experienced this, where like and a bunch of other companies like they experienced a massive drop in their stock prices. So everyone was like they wanted to leave to get better compensation because they knew if they like reset their stock somewhere else, they could freaking get good compensation. And so what happened for me was my VP quit, my director quit, and then my direct manager quit. And so then we all like essentially the entire marketplace data team reported like to like a C-level executive at Airbnb. There was like no the chain completely got obliterated. There was no management structure at all for like a couple months there, where it ended up being really chaotic. And that was a moment when like I was like it really broke me, because then I was like, I could tell that like my creator journey was demanding more from me, because YouTube is a lot harder. YouTube is way harder than LinkedIn. Like it's like 10 times harder than LinkedIn. And it's like, and then my job at Airbnb was like, no, we demand way more from you now too. Like you need to be a leader. You need to show up because the leaders are gone. They all quit. And I was like, okay. And then I had a very, very nasty negative mental health crisis where I actually ended up in the psych ward for about a week there, where like I didn't know what to do with my life, because like I was like I just said yes to everything. And I was like I learned a very important lesson from that, is that like if you say yes to everything, you say no to your sanity, right? And that was like I hit a very gnarly low there in my journey. And because I was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And then after I got out of the psych ward, I was like, well, I'm still at Airbnb. And I was like, what I realized was like, I wanted to leave the door open in case I wanted to go back, because I had built like an 8-year career in big tech. And I was like, I want to make sure I can like, so I realized I couldn't leave Airbnb then, because I'd only been there like a year, a little bit more than a year. And like, and I didn't have a good story. So like I was like, I need to come up with a good impact story at Airbnb before I quit. So I quit doing YouTube. I was like, no YouTube. YouTube is fire. YouTube like really like it teeters with your creative energy. And like I was like, all right, I'll just go back to LinkedIn. And then I spent like the next 6-7 months like there. And then that's when I finally was like, I wrapped up a good impact at Airbnb, and then I felt confident like in like leaving and going full time. So I don't know. I would say that was like my low as a creator, was that moment of just like saying yes to too much.
So I mean, there's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah.
Right. I think the first thing that I want to start, or I guess to dive deeper into, right, is the beginning of your journey. You mentioned that you started creating content on LinkedIn, and then ultimately, right, you quit YouTube to focus a little bit more on LinkedIn, as well as like to do your job at the same time, so to say.
Yeah.
LinkedIn, you can't monetize the same way that you can on YouTube, right? So there's no direct correlation to making money just through like an AdSense or anything like that. When you first got started with your content, were you doing it to try to supplement your income in any way, shape, or form? Or like what was the reasoning behind you just starting to post on LinkedIn?
That's a great question. It's a great question. So like I feel like I started posting on LinkedIn because I saw there's this woman named Shay Rowbottom. She's like she like dropped out of school. She was like a waitress, and then she freaking like she has like 700K on LinkedIn, and she made like millions and millions of dollars on LinkedIn. Like, and I was like, and she made millions and millions of dollars on LinkedIn in like 2018, 2019, like way before like freaking people even like way when the feed was way less competitive, right?
Shay's
But
a
like,
killer.
and I
Shay's
saw,
a killer.
I was watching her story, right? And I was like, I can do that. But at the same time, like, I didn't. I didn't really need more money, like, because it's like freaking Airbnb, right? Airbnb is like in the big tech space, right? Airbnb is one of the highest paying companies, right? So they pay more than Google, they pay more than Meta, they pay more than like the only company that pays more than Airbnb is Netflix, right? So it's essentially like Netflix and Airbnb are like just top tier. It's like so my role at freaking at Airbnb, I was making like $600,000 a year. So I was like, I didn't I like I was posting on LinkedIn because I was like, I don't need more money. I'm like, I'm fine. I'm chilling. I'm doing great. I'm crushing it, right? And so, but like I liked posting because I got so much resonance and so many people who were like, and I also saw something. I think the other thing I saw was that like, so I'm both in data science and data engineering, but I'm more of a data engineer than a data scientist. And I saw like there were just so many data science creators who were taking off. And I was like, nobody's talking about data engineering. Literally nobody. There was like I was like, where's the big data pipeline guy? Like where are these guys talking? And like I saw nothing. And I was like, okay, like I bet I could start talking about this, and I bet I could find my tribe. And I did ultimately. And it's like now it's really crazy because it's like the thing about that thing was like I saw an unmet need in a market, right? And I was like, okay, just go there. And now it's like I'm like the number one voice in that space. And it's like really crazy to me to like realize that over the last like 4 or 5 years is like just like keep pushing on that, and like things have gotten really amazing. So I'd say that was the main reason, was to do that, and then hopefully over the long term try to make money. I didn't make a dime from LinkedIn for like 2 years. I didn't make any money at all for 2 years. Like I only really started making money like after I quit my job and I wanted to turn it into a business. And that because like because I was like, I guess like it was very interesting, and because now everything has been turned upside down. Was I was under the impression that like as a creator there was no way that like I would ever make enough money that like it would ever look like it would ever be anywhere near what I was making at Airbnb, ever, right? Because I was like,
Yeah,
there's no
I
way,
was gonna
right?
say.
Because I'm like, I'm paid so well, right? I'm paid so well, and I was so hesitant to monetize because I was like, if I don't monetize, then people will think I'm pure, right? They think I'm pure. I'm just a good guy. I'm just here to help you. I'm just here to help you. I'm just like literally here only to help you. I'm not selling anything. There's no course. There's no scam here. It's literally just pure knowledge and help, right? And I think that was something that like is a very powerful way to grow as a creator, is that like if you take the pressure off on monetization and you just focus on like how can I help people the most I possibly can, that is and you do it with very pure intentions, that it separates you. It just clearly separates you from the pack, right? Very quickly. And like and that's one of the reasons why like I know like when I do free trainings and I do like that's always where like I know that's where I'm going to get the big brand, because I learned something. This is another thing I learned throughout this journey, is that like social capital is worth more than financial capital, right? Having a lot of people who think positively about you is worth more than having a lot of money, right? And so like, and if you have to keep making those investments, even if you are monetizing, you need to keep making investments in giving back to the community and like and making positive brand shifts, right? Because if you're not doing that, like you're definitely you're playing a short-term game, and like this is, you got to look at people like Mr. Beast, right? Mr. Beast understands that this is a very long-term game, right? He understands that like don't really take profits, put it all back into the business, see what happens, and like keep freaking growing it and see like, and do it for 10 years, right? Don't try to like, have this be like a 5-year run and be done, right? That's not the like this is a long journey, and it should be, because it's like that's the whole point, right? Is trying to impact as many lives as possible.
For sure. I just want to dive into some of this money stuff really quick, because I'm looking at your LinkedIn and you've got your salary at every single position that
Yeah.
you've been at on there. So I think I just want to share this really quick, because again, this is public knowledge, right? You can go in on
Yeah.
Zach's LinkedIn, but if you are just listening, check out our YouTube. Hold on, let me just say, check out our YouTube or our Spotify to make sure that you can see exactly what I'm about to share here. Can you see my screen, right? All right. So he starts off retail stock clerk, $7.75 an hour. Then at Weber State University, he's a math tutor at $14 an hour. Then he goes to data science and intern, $15 an hour.
I got ripped off there. The $15 an hour data science internship, I feel salty about, honestly.
I was
feel
gonna
like
say, looking at it,
I gave them way more value. That was because I had 2 bachelor's degrees and I was making $30K. All right, and it was like I felt so poor. But then once I got to that $60K, that's when I finally felt like, okay, I have made it. Right?
Yep. Okay, so he's got $60K, right? This is June 2015.
Yeah.
Then he goes and becomes a data engineer at $80K. And then software engineer for $95K. So you're moving every, it seems like, what, 8-9 months at this point, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then becomes the CTO. I assume, is this like a
that was my startup. I read so that was a startup I did with my friend. So like a lot of my time, like I spent, like you see, like that was like 2016. So like I worked like 60 to 80 hours a week. Like that's just like my go-to rate is like, so like I work weekends most of the time. And so like that CTO role is nights and weekends. So I probably would do that role like 20 to 30 hours a week. Like, and yeah, we tried. I mean, that we failed. We failed miserably, but like we tried, and I worked on that for a long time. And that's really where like I got a lot of my like full stack skills and my front end skills, like my JavaScript skills that really helped me today. I got in that role, even though that was a massive failure. Like,
Yeah, and I think this is where everything starts to go a little crazy, right? So you go
Yeah,
from
definitely,
95K
definitely.
salary and then you get hired by Facebook and then you're at
Yeah,
185 total comp and
yeah,
then a crazy jump. Even
yeah,
after just a year, you go up to a total comp of 365 over at Netflix.
yeah,
Um, but then you get a raise within 5 months. Is that you get
yeah.
a promotion?
That was a mistake. So actually, like this is another very interesting space. Like I actually accepted an offer that was a massive lowball offer. Like so, like for me, like I
You're
was at
talking about the
185 at Facebook.
365.
That yeah, that 365. So the average pay for that role was actually 500K, right? And I accepted 365 because I told them that I wanted a senior I wanted the compensation of a senior data engineer at Meta, which is 365. They gave me exactly what I wanted. But then I learned that literally everyone on my team was making another 150K. Yeah, and I was like, and I was pissed. I was so pissed, but like it was interesting because like I was providing so much value and Netflix is actually very flexible with like they like you can get a comp adjustment at Netflix essentially like at any moment in the year. You don't have to wait till the end of the year. Like they have a very flexible that's one of the things that's beautiful about Netflix is that like everything evens out pretty quickly. And so like yeah, it was but definitely you want to research the roles more. Definitely research the roles more and understand like cuz I could have gone from 185 to 500, right? That was actually what was that they would have offered me that if I asked for that. Yeah,
Yeah, no,
100%.
that's insane. So like within 5 months, basically, you
Yeah.
go from 185 to 570 to 575,
575, yeah, for sure. Because like,
which
so
is
here was
insane.
interesting because like how I was able to get above the 500 range. It was really this scene. So Netflix is different now, but back then they actually didn't have any titles. So there was no juniors, no mid levels. There was only they only hired senior engineer. Everyone had senior engineer as their title. There was no one above you and no one below you. Everyone was the same. But the compensation was not. The compensation was actually very opaque. And so like that was an interesting thing to see. And like ultimately like I like so in that 18 months when I worked at Netflix, we actually filed 3 different patents for that. You see that machine learning feedback system that allowed security engineers to label corporate user behavior as risky or not risky. That and that graph database solution, both of those ended up being patents that Netflix filed, and they actually have patents on both of those systems for cybersecurity. And so like they ultimately they bumped me above the average band there because of the impact that I landed in those 18. I mean, that was the most intense difficult part of my life for sure. That was like, I mean, those 18 months like was freaking very intense. Like, oh my, I worked so hard. That was like the hardest I've ever worked in my whole life was those 18 months for sure. Like,
Yeah. No, I mean, look, that's insane, right? And then you got your
yeah.
your career break, and then you end in terms of for your
Yeah, I
full
burnt
time
out. I
employment.
burnt out though. That's what happened. The career break was because of burnout, right? Yeah, for sure. But then, yeah, then
Yeah.
I got a little bump at Airbnb. The thing that was interesting about Airbnb, and I learned a lot from this, is that like, so why Airbnb was way better was I only really ever worked like 30 hours a week at Airbnb. I very rarely did 40. Right. It was like between 30 to 35 hours a week most of the time, except for that period of time when everyone quit. Right. And then things got really insane for a little bit. But like on a per hour basis, Airbnb was a massively better deal than Netflix because of the fact that like at Netflix it was like okay 575 and work 65 hours or 600 and work 35 hours, right? So it's like more money and like half as many hours. And so like the combination there made that's why I was able to become a creator at this moment as well, right? Oh, and for everyone watching, don't put your compensation in your LinkedIn like this. I do this because I will probably never work a corporate job ever again. And like this is not information that you want to divulge to employers, right? But like I do it just to show people what's possible. And that's my kind of my journey. So yeah, Airbnb was wild. I loved Airbnb. That's the only one I'd go back to. I would not go back to Netflix. I would not go back to Meta. I would go back to Airbnb. So
No, I love that, man.
Yeah, I love that so much. That's so cool. I want to dive into like LinkedIn more. What was like the early days of LinkedIn? What helped your LinkedIn post grow the most? Because you have like so like 500,000 followers on LinkedIn. Like, what
yeah.
is something that helped your LinkedIn grow the most? And where do you think LinkedIn is at today? Because I feel like the algorithms are kind of weird lately. So we'll look to impact LinkedIn.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the algorithm sucks, man. Like, I mean, I feel like they like because they're pushing monetization way more now. They're pushing ads and monetization way more. Like, I've actually done a sampling. I've done a sampling just to understand. Like, I've done a sampling over the last 6 months, right? So, the percent of ads in my feed has gone up over 100% over the last 6 months. So, like, yeah, like you're just fighting ads now as a creator, right? That's all it is. Like that, like they're literally stomping your reach. They're stomping your reach down because they're like, well, people are paying us, right? And that's the and like they have to like decide the balance of organic and promoted content. But like anyways, the early days of LinkedIn, I feel like especially in 2021, like when like I was the only voice there, it was so easy. Like it was like I got a groove. I feel like after like 4 or 5 months, I understood like the writing patterns. There's a course called the LinkedIn OS. I highly recommend it. It's like $100. Like highly recommend it. It's like it will give you all the writing styles and writing patterns that you need to like actually like because it's LinkedIn is like it's stupid, but like for the most part, it's not really about what you write. It's about how you write it, which I think is and I think that's what gives LinkedIn a bad rap. That's why like there's the meme of like like what my divorce taught me about B2B sales or whatever, those like, those freaking absolutely awful freaking cringe LinkedIn posts that like go super viral because it's like it's more about like how you write and that hook. It's very similar to like Instagram in that way, but like I feel like once you figure out like how to write that first sentence, when you figure out how to write those first 8 to 10 words, then the rest of it becomes pretty flowy. You still have to like to get the follow, you have to actually deliver, right? You can't just like write the spicy hook and then like you'll get views writing a spicy hook, but you're not going to get the follow. You have to actually deliver the value. And so like when I figured that out, I got to a point in like 2021 where like I was very consistently able to get 20,000 followers a month. Just every month, just consistently. It wasn't like I had like a super viral moment that like got me a ton, which is different from other platforms like Instagram and YouTube. I had super viral moments where I got most of my followers, and it's actually slower on a month-to-month basis. Where LinkedIn has been just like a very steady climb. It's been a very steady climb, and it's actually flattened a lot now. Like because nowadays, like I think instead of like 20K, like I can get like I probably average like 8 to 10K a month now, like in growth, right? Which is crazy because I know way more about content now, but it comes back to like there's so much feed competition now, and there's just so and LinkedIn has they put in this very stupid freaking thing. So like if your post gets 1,000 likes, right? There's actually it goes through a manual human review to say like yes it should go viral or no it shouldn't go viral, right? There's actually a human in the loop if you get to 1,000 likes, and then like and so a lot of times you'll notice like if you get a post that hits 1,000 likes and then you get the thumbs down, essentially it just flatlines, and that used to never happen. It's like if you posted something on LinkedIn that got 1,000 likes, it's going to the moon, baby. It's going to the moon, right? And it's gonna do and so they've really clamped down on virality on LinkedIn. It's like one of the things I've noticed over the last like 2 years, right, is like in 2021, I probably had like 15 to 20 posts that broke 2 million, right? 2 million views. This year, right, keep in mind, with 3 times more followers, this year I've done it 1 time, right? I've done it 1 time, right? And so like like the algorithm, like they have really kind of clamped down on like so that's why like the secret sauce on LinkedIn nowadays is just you have to show up every day and get your views every day because like that's the only way to do it now. Like it's very hard to like be like, oh, I'm gonna create some spicy banger that's gonna like give me all my views for the month, right? I mean, except for you, Grace. I mean, you pulled it off. You got that like 60 million view video, which is unbelievable. I've never done that. Like the most I've ever done on LinkedIn, like ever, is like 17 million. Like that's the most I've ever done on one piece of content. So seeing 60, I'm like, what?
What was the content that got 17 million for you?
So it was actually one that it was like one sentence. It was crazy. It was like it was so effortless. So like so back in 2022, back when Joe Biden he pulled out of Afghanistan, right? He left Afghanistan, and Airbnb, they actually offered free housing to all Afghan refugees. That was actually something that Airbnb did. And so like I wrote one sentence and I was like, Airbnb is offering free housing to all Afghan refugees, and I'm like, this is why I love working here. That was the post. That was it. And I was like,
Which
that
is
was it. And
crazy.
Yeah, and I'm like freaking so crazy because I think that one went super viral because everyone was like watching that moment and they were watching, there was so many just really dark, nasty clips of like all of the really bad shit that was happening in Afghanistan. And like you feel hopeless. Like you feel like, what can I even do to help this situation? And I think that was like a glimmer of hope in a very dark situation. And that's why that like ended up going as viral as it did. But yeah, that was that. Yeah, I've had a couple like that like where I'm like, wow, that went way more viral than I thought.
That's amazing. The post that the one that I got 60 plus million views has 75 million views now, and you're the first person. You're in the video too, actually.
No, I'm in the video. I'm
Yeah,
right at the beginning. I'm like, hey,
you're
what's up?
right in the beginning. Yeah. So shout out Zach, thank you. Yeah, I feel
Yeah,
like LinkedIn had like a growth spurt. I feel like LinkedIn, especially like mid 2024 to like early 2025, like videos were going crazy. I've gotten like 5 videos over 1 million views, and now my videos are getting like 20,000, which is like really sad. But
yeah.
well, we'll see. We'll see
Yeah,
where
they've
they go.
shifted it. I mean, I don't even like I do way better on YouTube Shorts and Instagram. Like, I mean, for me, my shorts do the best on Instagram. It feels like they do best on Instagram, then YouTube Shorts, then TikTok, then LinkedIn. Even though LinkedIn is where I have the most followers. And I'm like, okay, it's freaking stupid, but okay. And it's so it feels so like they're like gaslighting us too, because it's like they also are like they show us ads and they're like, post video, it will do better. And it's like, no, it won't. No, it won't. Right? It's like
Bro,
freaking like,
holy shit! Like, no hate to LinkedIn team. I love LinkedIn so much,
yeah.
but speaking of low-key gaslighting, just based on my perspective, I went to the LinkedIn booth at Create and Cultivate conference. I've been to LinkedIn booth at Canva Create. They have like activations to help creators like make videos and post on LinkedIn. They're like, it's gonna blow up, and then it doesn't blow up. So yeah, they're like really pushing it, like even like in-person activations. So sad. But I also want to hear about two big topics. Like, what was the first dollar you made on social media, and how do you go about your content strategy across all these platforms? I know you're active on like
Oh my God.
YouTube,
This is
X,
gonna be great. You're gonna love
Instagram.
this. So like
Yeah, go
so
ahead.
I didn't make any money till I quit my job. I actually made nothing. I think that was kind of intentional, but like when I quit my job, I remember like when I quit my job, I like started really grinding out TikToks and I got to like I got to the monetization bar. I think with TikTok it's like you have to have like 10,000 followers and like a certain number of views or something like that to like get into the creator fund. And I remember like I did that, and that was like 2 weeks after I quit my job, and then I got my first check from TikTok, and it was for 19 cents, right? And I remember like I took a screenshot of it, right? And I sent it
And
to my friend
what was
Will.
it? What was your paycheck at Airbnb at the
What-
time? Like
oh, my
roughly.
my biweekly paycheck was gonna be like 25 grand, right?
So from
Right?
25 grand bi-weekly to 19
Yeah.
cents from
19
TikTok.
cents, right? And I remember like I sent a screenshot of that to my friend Will, and I was like, dude, I'm so happy I quit my big tech job for these big bucks. Right? And like it was so interesting because like I did notice that like I thought like if I really just started to spill my soul into short form video, like when I initially quit my job, that's what I did. I was like just 3 TikToks a day, 3 Instagram reels a day, no excuses, just grind it out. And I was like, this is gonna go somewhere. And I did that for like 3 or 4 weeks, and I was like, this is not gonna work. This is not gonna work. And I was like, I have to do something else. And like and I was like, okay, I need to plan out like what I'm gonna do. And then that's when I set up my V1 beta like data engineering boot camp. It was like a 6-week program, and like I just sent like I did it all manually. It was like freaking did it all like I sent people like manual invoices. I actually did a wait list, and I was like, hey, who wants to join my data engineering boot camp? It's $1,000, and I got a wait list of 12,000 people. And
Holy.
I was like, damn, I'm like, that's crazy. That's really crazy. And like, but I didn't want to like, I was nervous about it because I was like, I'm not going to like just like freaking like fall on my face in front of 12,000 people, like on a beta, like when I had something I've never done before. So like on the very first version, I took 50 people because I was like, 50 was very intentional because I was like, okay, if I take 50 people, that makes 50K. And that's like essentially what I make in a month at Airbnb. That was like roughly about the same. And that was like my, like why I chose 50 to like start with. Cause I was like, all right, this is going to work. And and yeah, it ended up working better than I thought. It ended up working significantly better than I thought, and like I loved it. I loved it, and I was like, okay, I can do more of these. I can definitely do. I can do more cohorts. I can teach more people. I can do all that kind of stuff, and like then I was like, okay. Then there's all these like when you start doing cohorts, then like all these freaking people come around and they're like they try to sell you their products and sell you their things. They're I don't know if you've heard of Maven. Maven, like they do like they're like a cohort place, but they take 10% of your money, dude. And I was like, nah, like because I knew I was gonna grow. I knew I was gonna grow so much, and I was like, I'm not gonna give you guys hundreds of thousands of dollars just to be on your platform. Like it's not gonna be worth it. And so like ultimately, I actually like I did something crazy where I was like, I'm just going to choose no platform. I'm going to make it myself. I'm going to write the JavaScript myself, and I'm going to deploy my own platform, and I'm going to do it all myself. And that was amazing. And that has been like, I mean, it was awful. I feel like doing it that way, you suffer so much more pain doing it that way because like everything is difficult. There's nothing that is easy because like every feature gap, you feel the pain. Everything that like should work, you have to then go write JavaScript for, right? And so like, and that's what I ultimately did because I was like, and I'm happy about it because like that decision has been long-term pain for 2 years now, and it's finally paying off. It's paid off like over the last like 2 months. It's finally paying off the way that I did things. And I'm really excited to see where that goes because I think I'll actually be able to compete with Maven. I'll be able to like be in that platform space with them and battle them. But like yeah, cohorts are amazing though. That's always been like since I've been a full-time creator, that's been my like cash cow. That's been the big way that I've really kind of kind of monetized. Like
What's like the biggest month you've made from cohorts, or the biggest amount
through
of money you made?
cohorts. So
Yeah.
yeah, in May I tried this out. I've been like trying out new things of like how to like upsell and get people. So like in May I made a little bit over 400 grand in May, right? And so that was a crazy month. Oh my god, so crazy. And
That's amazing, dude.
yeah, I was like, dude, I didn't even think that was possible. And like, but it comes back to like, you have to like understand like what you're offering people, and like, because at the same time when you're running cohorts, you have to understand like it comes back to like a division problem of like money in divided by commitment. Right. So the thing that's different about that, why that 400 grand, I feel like is not quite as like interesting as like other things, even though it was my best month ever, is that came with mostly with a 15-week commitment. Whereas, like, for example, if you make 150K on a 5-week commitment, right, then like that's honestly like the same, right? That's about the same, right? It comes back to like how much can you delegate? How much can you pass to other people? How much can you like so that you can still live your life? And like that's where like it's interesting because people do want longer cohorts. Like if you like, because there's only a certain amount that you can charge if you're doing like 1 month or 5 weeks, because people are very aware that they can only experience so much of a transformation in that period of time. But when you're like 15 weeks, then people are like, all right, let's pay, let's do it, let's see what happens. And so like and I learned a lot. I learned so much from that, and I think there's a sweet spot though. I actually think there's like, because I've done 5 and 15, I actually think my next one I'm gonna do 10, because I think that there's actually like a sweet spot in the middle there of where people will like kind of really engage, you know.
No, have you tried any other business models throughout this whole time of just like tinkering and everything like that, whether it be merch, building something else, or whatever it is?
Yeah, a bunch of them. So like I love subscription. Subscription is amazing. So like so I have a subscription product. It's $200 a month. Like essentially what it is like you can get access to all of the old bootcamp material for $200 a month. And that one's great. So that gets me like I have like 500 people who pay that. So it's like that's like 100K. It's like 100K just like freaking from that business model. And that's like freaking, I mean, honestly, that's like it's tricky. It's a tricky thing because like sometimes I'm like, why am I even doing cohorts? It's all just like drop turnkey, like what am I doing, like like, but at the same time I recognize that like the cohorts are what give me the new content, and that's what keeps people from churning. That's what keeps people from
Fair.
keeping people actually subscribed. And so like, so I feel like for me I have 3. So like when I think about like, or I guess 4 income streams that really matter to me. So like cohorts are the big one, that's like probably 70%. Platform subscription is next, which is probably like 25%. and then you have freaking boot camp, or man, then you have a newsletter like Substack. I do decently on Substack. I make like I think like $100,000 a year from Substack. It's nice. That's like a $10 a month subscription, right? And then my last one is like the long tail of like like the $1,000 a month that I make from like YouTube and TikTok and Twitter, and I get all these like tiny little checks from all these freaking companies because it's like I'm a niche creator. I'm never gonna get the views on YouTube to like make the money because it's like I did a post about that, how like so in the entire world, right, there's 500,000 data engineers, right? There's 500,000 in the whole world. So like so if I make a YouTube video where every single data engineer in the entire world watches it, all right, I make $800. Right? It's like, okay, great. Thanks, YouTube. Thanks. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, if you're a niche creator, like you're never gonna get the views necessary to monetize at that level, right? You have to be mass market. Like that's why Mr. Beast works, because his content appeals to everybody, right? But like, I feel like that's a space that's interesting. I feel like the other places that I'm dabbling, other interesting spaces that I'm dabbling, is I really like free boot camps. I like teaching people for free. And so what I like to do in that space is, and I'm currently in negotiations, is I want to do free boot camps that are sponsored. I want to do like sponsorships, like either by like the big boys like Snowflake or Databricks or AWS or someone like that, and that will be. I've never taken sponsor money in my whole creator journey. Never done a brand deal, never taken sponsor money in my 5 years as a creator, which is interesting because I feel like that's the most common way that creators monetize. And like, I don't do that because I like to just be an educator. But like, if like the way I think about it is like my first sponsor deal that I want to land, it needs to be a 6-figure deal. I'm not doing a 5-figure deal. I'll do a 6-figure deal only, right? And it's like, and if I can't land a 6-figure deal, I would rather just run another cohort, because it's like the cohort's going to make me that money anyways. Right? And so like it's a very interesting trade of like how this stuff works. But like, and the other one is speaking engagements. That's the big one that like is starting to happen now, is like people are like, hey Zach, come speak at this thing, or hey Zach, come do this. I went to Bangalore a couple months ago. Like when I did the Thailand creator house, I went to Bangalore and they paid me $20K to just like go and speak for an hour. And I was like, it's like, damn. I'm like, okay, like, but I also have to like fly to India. I have to like, there's like a lot of other things I had to do there, but like I was like, that's freaking cool. I'm happy about that. Like, and so like I know there's gonna be more of that in my life as well. I'm gonna try to manifest more of that. So yeah, I'd say those are the main ways. Like I think that there's merch. Merch is like, I have this guy, right? I have like I have a bunch of I have merch that I freaking give away. I've wanted to make like a merch store. That's like another one that like I would want. It just feels like I'm very skeptical of things like that, because it comes back to like I don't want the merch store to be a distraction. Like because it's like, if the merch store makes me $5,000 a month and it takes 10 hours of my time or something like that, then it's not worth it. Right. And it's like, because it's like, it comes back to like, you want to focus on like doing one or two things extremely well. For me, that's building my platform and running cohorts. Right. Everything else doesn't really matter, because everything else is like, it's 1 0 less. Right. And it's like, okay, then if these things make 10 times more money, why the hell am I even focusing on these other things? These problems are too small. And so like, and like that's where like, that's why I don't like the quote. There's a quote that says like, the average millionaire has 7 income streams, right? Right. That's a quote. And so like, and I think that creators, they kind of get obsessed of like, okay, I gotta have all these. I gotta have a merch store. I gotta have a subscription. I gotta do all of these things. And it's like, no, like the average millionaire has 7 income streams because of the fact that like they did something really well first. They did something really, really well first. They did one thing really well first. And then they diversified later. It's not like they like built 7 income streams all at the same time. Like, I bet there are some creators that do that, but like, it's not the most. It's not like, it's like, like Mr. Beast, right? He really nailed YouTube organic, right? Then he branched into Feastables, and then he branched into like, Mr. Beast Burger, and he branched into like all these other like, things. But he did that like after 10 years of making content. Or not like, he wasn't like day one, like, okay, I'm going to make Mr. Beast and Feastables, right? And he's not going to split his energy, because it's like, to have success as a creator, it requires an unbelievable amount of focus, right? And that's like, and if you're trying to split your energy focusing on other streams, like, you're not going to be successful. Like,
Yeah, fascinating. So my understanding is like for niche creators, the best way is like not like make a cohort, like teach people a very specific skill, like a transformation. And that's so interesting because like I also have like 10 streams of income, but I really focused on design buddies first, and that's why I'm able to do that. We're also trying to do like like a free cohort for AI design tools and have it sponsored too. So we'll just jam on that separately as well.
Nice.
Is there anything that you've tried as a creator that like didn't work out, and why didn't it work out? So you've
Ooh,
never
that's a
done like
good one.
sponsored stuff. Yeah, what didn't work
Y-
out as for creator
I feel
stuff?
like what hasn't worked out for me as a creator is like I feel like I've invested a lot of time in a couple places that like have not yielded any results. Like it's been unbelievable how bad I have so I've invested about like I think about 150 hours into streaming on Twitch, right? And I think I have like 100 followers. Like I think I have like 100 followers, right? It's like something like and I'm like
A follower an hour, baby.
yeah. I'm like, dude, I'm like, damn, I'm gonna have to like, I have to get my 10,000 hours to get to freaking like to get to 10K followers. Jesus, right? It's like, and it's like, and so like, I've noticed like there's because I have 100,000 followers on 6 platforms, 7 platforms, something like that, and they don't all yield the same results, right? Not even close, right? So it's like, I feel like. I've noticed a lot of like I used to like to make a lot of content on TikTok. The problem with TikTok is that people do not convert. They don't convert. Like people on TikTok are broke, dude. They don't have any money. They don't buy from you. Like they buy from like TikTok shop and stuff like that. So it's like there's ways to do it where you have to meet the customer where they're at in terms of expecting to spend money, right? And so there is ways that you can meet them where they're at and do it that way. But like overall, like I have I've spent I feel like that's the other place. I've spent an unbelievable amount of time on TikTok, and I feel like so on TikTok it's like I have like almost 100K. I think I have like 90K on TikTok, and TikTok has converted 2 people, 2 people, 2 out of 90,000, right? So so it's like, what am I doing here? What am I doing here, right? It's like, and so like I feel like there's been a couple of them. So Twitch and TikTok I feel like are the platforms for me that have been absolute utter failures. Uh, and then the places that have done really well, like are gonna be LinkedIn really well. LinkedIn does great. YouTube does really great. YouTube converts incredibly well. I love YouTube as well because there's not the consistent pressure to post every single day. Like you just post a couple bangers and then like because I get 10,000 views a day on YouTube and like I haven't posted in like months. Right, and it's just because I have like a couple viral bangers that just keep giving me reach and traffic, right? And so like that's beautiful. Oh my god, like I think about that and I'm like, oh my god, that's like how I escape the freaking post everyday hell is I just have to post like a couple bangers on YouTube and then I'm done. So Instagram also very 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 good because it freaking Instagram has a lot more tools. Like so if you ever worked with ManyChat on Instagram is amazing because when you can automate DMs and you can slide into people's DMs and you can like straight up have a conversation with them with LLM, then you freaking like can have like a it's good. It's so good. Instagram converts very very well. LinkedIn converts very well. Twitter converts very well. I like Twitter's an interesting one because I feel like it's very hard to grow on Twitter. That's the thing that's hard for me is like, I have like almost 50K on Twitter, but I've posted like 5,000 times, right? And so it's like, I'm like, dude, like, I'm trying. I'm freaking trying, right? But it's definitely like, it's a slow grind on Twitter. And so, but like, it converts. They do convert. And then another one, Substack, newsletter, very, very good. Very, very good. Especially like if you can become a part of a writer network. Like, so you need to collaborate with other creators and then you recommend each other. And then you get like from that, like the newsletter recommendation network, I get like 5,000 new emails a month passively that I don't have to do anything for. And so like, but it comes back to like, you have to freaking network, right? You have to have a good enough brand that like other creators are down to recommend you. That's the part that's hard is like you actually have to like have a good enough brand and like network with people. And so that's also very, very fruitful. I found like, so I've like, generally speaking, the way I think about it is like, I find in terms of ROI, writing platforms, LinkedIn, Twitter, Substack, higher ROI, especially ROI on effort, right? Because YouTube, Instagram, higher effort, lower ROI, right? Because they also monetize a little bit worse. But like I've noticed that I need both. I need both to like because I want to be the number one data engineer in the world. So you have to be on both. But like and that like but like overall, like if I had to like start a business somewhere, I would definitely start writing. Writing is so much easier. It's so much less effort, and like especially with LLM nowadays, like because about 40% of my content nowadays is all freaking like I it's either like not AI generated but AI assisted. So like I will give it like a format and like an idea that I'm thinking about, and I'm like, all right, fill in the details AI, and then I will edit it and then I will post it. Right. And it's like because and then it's like it makes my writing process go from like, it used to be like maybe a 15 to 20 minute process to being like a 5 minute process. And I'm like, and then it does, and sometimes the AI content does better, and I'm like maybe I don't even need to like why am I here? What I'm not even a creator anymore. This is like I'm just like remixing the internet at this point. I'm like not even a real person, but and it makes me nervous a little bit because I think that is something where the creative bar and the creative potential is going up dramatically because of AI. Right, because like this whole space is changing so rapidly. But I don't know. I would say that those are like the failures and the successes over like my my journey over the last 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of have a similar perspective when it comes to AI. I feel like AI gets you, let's call it 75, 80% there, but where the real magic kind of happens or where you can really see if you have the skill set or not to be a true creator is if you can maximize that last 20% or so. And I think obviously you are, whether it's from just a conversion standpoint or getting views side of things. But I think you've dropped like a couple of really big gems here, right? When we're talking about the quote of 7 streams for a millionaire, I agree. I think almost everyone has done something really well and then diversified from there. It's very hard to be a jack of all trades from the very get go, so to say. And then the other one that was like really standing out to me that you said was if you're in the niche space, like for you, for instance, if every data engineer watched your stuff, you'd make like what, $800? I think that's what you said. I think that's
And that's like if I was wildly successful, that'd be like unbelievably successful, right? Yeah.
exactly. And I think that's really good to put into people's perspective, right? Because they see the Mr. Beast, they see the KSIs, etc. of the world, and it's like, hey, if you're creating a little bit more niche content, that's not necessarily the model that you should be following.
Yeah, you have to be thinking about TAM, right? Your total addressable market, right? You have to be thinking about like what is the absolute most like. I mean, that's why I love data engineering because like it is gonna over the next 10 years, it's going from $500,000 to $2 million, right? So like it's growing dramatically, and so like that's one of the things that I'm excited because then maybe in 2035 I will be able to get enough views, right? I'll
Hey,
be
you
able to
might
get
be
enough
getting
views
like
to actually
1,500 a video, right?
yeah,
You know what I'm
if I'm
saying?
still freaking posting about data engineering though, like I think I'll have I think like one of the things that I would love to talk about too is like this whole idea of like when you're in these spaces, right? And you're in like one of the things that happens is like I know Grace, you're experiencing this right now as well as this whole idea of like you get kind of pigeonholed, right? Where it's like I am the data engineer guy. And it's like if I try to be like, "Hey, I want to talk about something else." And they're like, "How dare you? How dare you?" Right?
Let's talk about it. Let's
Right?
talk about it because I think like I think the best example of who's been able to do it the best is Ali Abdal, right? Because he was that sort of the doctor, note taking, studying, productivity guy, but he's been able to kind of shift his persona. I would say over the past 3-ish years or so, to a little bit more entrepreneurial, a little bit more content creator focused. When you're thinking about 2035, let's just say again, data science stuff might be less interesting to you. Do you see a pathway for you to kind of like slowly transition out of that type of content?
Yeah, I mean, I have a couple like North Star people that I really look up to who like I think are doing a lot like this. There's Alex Hermosi. Alex Hermosi, he was like the gym bro. He was like a gym bro for a long time, and now he's like just business bro, right? He's like he's done a very good job of like shifting from gym bro to business bro. And like I think that like that's a big part of it is like okay, how do you like slowly transition that? And that's why like another one who I like a lot is Nos Daily. Nos Daily, he does because he was doing like those 1 minute daily. He did those like 1 minute videos for 1,000 days in a row, and then and now he is so diversified. Like he has a platform, he has like so much going on. And like so like I see him as like another one who I'm trying to design my business for, like, but it's tricky. It's so tricky because it's like it feels like you're going into an empty space. Right? Do you feel that way, Grace? Where it's like you're like, okay, I'm making a ton of money from these cohorts from design, and then you're like, okay, I'm pivoting my brand into a desert. or
High
like
key, low key, yeah. Sometimes, like, yeah, I read a post about it yesterday about how people were like really mad at me, like basically like how dare you not talk about how to get a job in design anymore. And I feel like, I don't know, I get bored really easily, which is a good and bad thing. And I built my brand, a lot of it came from design buddies, but I also been creating content for like over 10 years. And I grew pretty big on Tumblr. I got like 10K within a year when I was 16 on Tumblr. I was doing brand deals and stuff. But then I kind of put that aside because I was focused on my
you
school. I was
monetizing
doing
at 16? Damn.
yeah, I was doing brand deals and PR packages at 16. Yeah, and then like I thought being a creator was like a lot of people said it was cringe back then, so I stopped. I was like too self-conscious of myself back then. I was weak, and I focused on school, college, stopped making content 4 years, started again 2020, and then blew up from like design career content. And now it's been over a year since I quit my job. I really tired of like design career content because I feel like I just repeating myself so many times. But I still love design. Like I love making cool designs. So I'm like in a transition right now. I'm pivoting over to like how to leverage AI to do design, how you do like vibe code, how to make cool, cute illustrations, and how to like the craft of design. I've been drawing since I was 5. Like I will never stop doing design art. So I'm just in a bit
Yeah.
of a transitionary period right now, and I have a team with design buddies. So we have 4 full-time employees. And I'm trying
Nice.
to train them how to make viral content and how they can just become me in terms of content.
Yeah.
So that's how I'm
That's
doing it.
hard.
It's like
That's so
delegating it.
hard.
Yeah,
Like
because I
I
mentally
that
cannot.
part
Yeah.
Yeah, that part I have not figured out. Like I feel like I have a team that like helps me deliver the cohorts. Like as like I'm actually trying to get to a point where I am not teaching very much of the cohorts, even though like people love it when I teach. They love it. They love it so much. But like one of the goals is that like I'm not teaching the cohorts as much anymore, like going forward, because it's like that's the only, because then I can do more of them. I can do way more of them if I have like another instructor, because then it's like I can market it and I can get people in the door, and then I can like just do Q&A, or and I can be like in more of a supporting role in the cohort, and then we can bring way more people through the door, because then it's like every cohort isn't like contingent on me burning myself out, right? That's like it's not like that's not like the like a hard requirement in order to like actually deliver. So like I'm with you on that. Like you know what I find interesting is like so you worked how long did you work in design, you guys?
Just like 3.75 years. I had one job in my life, which is UX designer at EA. I never worked any other job ever
Oh
full
yeah,
time.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I find interesting about it is that like I feel like there's like this interesting like staying power that happens, right? Where like and because I know that like I will be in that same boat with you in terms of like teaching data at some point. And I think there's like almost like this like it's like a fraction, right? Where it's like okay, because I had a 10-year career in data, right? I did data for 10 years. And so like it's like I think about it as like I quit my job 2.5 years ago, and like I still have some energy. I feel like I'm like I can do like maybe 2 or 3 more cohorts, and like I'm feeling good. I feel like I can do 2 or 3 more, but I definitely feel like I will get to a point with you where I'm like I'm repeating myself. I'm doing the same stuff over and over again, and I want to do something different, right? Because it's like, and I think there's something about that as like a fraction of like what you did on the job versus like okay now you're doing it here, right? And it's like because I had this like career that I could just pull from and have all these ideas from, and then like but you run out. I've noticed that myself even when I'm not teaching entry level, right? I'm teaching more like intermediate and advanced data skills. And at this point, like sometimes I'm like, dude, like how many times am I going to talk about this one damn story I did at Facebook? Like how many times do I have to pull this one story out of my ass? Like it's like I know it's an important story, but like maybe there's other stories that are worth telling, you know, that there's like, and I think that that's like it's an interesting trade because there's a side of it where like you also like you look at the dollars and cents of the matter and you're like maybe I should be boring. Maybe I should, because it's like it's only boring to you though, Grace, right? Because it's like because to them it's new, right? To them it's new, right? And that's why it's like that's why it's so that's why you just need to turn yourself into an AI, just AIify yourself. Run the cohort as like an AI avatar who's repeating herself, because the AI avatar is not gonna get isn't gonna get mad, right? At like saying the same shit over and over and over again. I'm actually looking into that because it's like I feel like AI avatars will do 2 things, right? One is it will work with this creator burnout problem of like, hey, I don't want to keep teaching the same shit over and over and over again. And it will also increase accessibility because like I have a massive audience in India, and like I know that there's a good chunk of those people in India who like would much prefer if I taught in Hindi than if I taught in English, right? And so like, is there a way I can do an AI avatar that can teach this content in Hindi, right? And like I've also wondered like, can this AI avatar be Indian, right? And like, can it be more local, right? Because it's like, is there a minus there of like a lack of trust? Because it's like I'm a white man and then I'm in India. It's just like, I'm not local. I'm not like as trustworthy, right? Because I'm different, right? And it's like, is there a way that like the AI avatar would actually outperform me? Right. And it's interesting because like we put so much stock into personal brand, right? Because I know that's something all three of us like firmly believe is that personal brand and trust matters. My personhood matters the most, right? But then like there are cases where your personhood actually gets in the way. It actually gets in the way, and like, and that's something that like I am really trying to dabble in and trying to understand more about like where that where that works, and is there a way that I can reach those people in a way that would that like meet them where they're at, meet them where they would pay money, meet them where they would want to learn, right? Versus like where right now it's just like unreachable because everything is so centered on me. And so like, I don't know, it's crazy.
Have you put any, to bring it back to like the transition period, right? To potentially
Yep.
transition your content to something else. Have you put like your personality into the content at all, or like bits and pieces of it, or is it really like hyper focus on data stuff? Like I know Grace's personal, at least personal Instagram, right, is very much around everything that she kind of does in her crazy life. Have you done any of that at all?
Ooh, that's an interesting one. I feel like it's both. I feel like I all my external content definitely has a taste of Zach in it. I feel like the internal content does too. It does like my like paywalled content has a touch of that as well. And that's like when I've talked with some of these AI avatar companies where I'm like, I don't want it to lose the soul. Like I want Zach to still be there. Like I don't care if I'm like an Indian man now, but like I want my like flavor to still be there too. Like because if it's not there, like then it's just like then I'm just like an encyclopedia or something, right? That like right? And no, not about it, right? And it's like I feel like it's interesting because it's like I feel like that's one way to like enable, right? And I feel like the other way that I'm doing it, right, is through my platform, right? So I have a platform I'm building called Tech Creator. So Tech Creator, what it does is it enables people to run cohorts, very similar to like Maven and Kajabi and stuff like that. But it has like way more to it. Like for example, like it has a lot of AI tools. Like so, like you can like submit homework, and AI will automatically grade the homework. So you just have to on the creator side, you have to give it the rubric of like what you're looking for, and then AI will automatically grade the homework. It's pretty cool. And then it also like has a lot of integrations with Discord and all these other very interesting things where it can act as like a TA. And so like I'm really trying to like grow that because I think that like at the end of the day, like I want to be an enabler. Because it's like the creator economy, just like this podcast is gonna blow up. Right, this podcast is I can feel it in my bones, and I'm glad I'm here early. I'm glad I'm here early because people are gonna look back and they're like, whoa, right? And it's like because if you look at the creator economy, right, the creator economy is actually going to grow faster than AI over the next 5 years or something like that. It's very close. Like those two trajectories are both very like, vertical, right? And it's like, because it's like this, people are recognizing like, okay, we can connect with other people. Like we can build trust on the internet. We can build a brand. Like we can build a story. Like we're getting good at storytelling. And like people are just getting better at building trust at scale. And that is like, at the end of the day, like that's what the economy runs on, right? The economy is just trust. It's just trust at the end of the day. It's like, how can we build trust at scale? And that's what the creator economy is. And I think that that's where like that enablement role is like where I kind of see myself long term because I see myself because that feels like a role that like one is not as taxing on my creative energy because it's like I don't have to like keep posting about how to learn SQL every damn day of my life, right? I don't, is that same thing, Grace? I have the same struggle as you. And that like it's more about like shifting to this new thing, and maybe this is something that also will run its course, right? And it's like maybe I will like there'll become a point like like the MySpace guy, like Tom from MySpace, right, where he was like, okay, I exited MySpace and now he just like does photography. Because I mean, at the end of the day, like there is a point when like you make enough money where you're like, what am I doing? Right? Why am I here? Like, why am I posting on the internet? Like, I don't need to do this anymore. Like, this is not so I can literally like go and live out the rest of my life completely unplugged from the internet. And I do think that that is ultimately like my like, long-term resting place is that like I will be one of those creators who will just kind of disappear into the shadows and I will just be gone, right? I'll be gone and I won't like I don't see myself being like Mr. Beast because I know Mr. Beast is going to post a YouTube video every week for the next 80 years, right? He's going to be like 95 still like doing those weird $1,000,000 challenges, right? And it's like, but me, I'm going to make my money and then I'm going to go. Like because it's like that's why we're doing this, right? Is like it's like cuz we see the creator path as like it's like what designers like what as a designer like what if you're a really good designer like you're gonna make like maybe like 150 200K something like that, right? And it's like okay, if you do that, you still have to work for like 30 years or 40 years, like as a designer to like really actually make it, right? And it's like, I think of like the creator journey as like a 10 to 15 year journey. It's kind of like it's kind of like an athlete. It's kind of like an athlete journey, right? Where it's like you have your, you have your big arc and you make a lot of money in some years and then that will sustain you for the rest of your life. And then you get a lot of time on the back end to do like whatever you want. And you think about that, like all those like professional athletes who were like super famous, who like like all those guys are just super famous who had like so much like energy and contributed so much to sports and then they retire and then it's like they're just gone, right? They're just gone. Or they might do broadcasting or they might do other things, but some of them literally are just gone and they just go and like they're on a beach for the next 50 years vibing. Like, and it's like, I don't know, there's a side of it that's like, I know that's a life that a lot of us are looking for, That's like the North Star of a lot of this, right? Is like, that's why you deal with all the stress of being a creator.
Yeah, it's like Randy Johnson. I'm not sure if either of you know about baseball, but like he was like a really big like baseball pitcher, and now after he retired, probably what like 10, 15 years ago, he's just you can see him at random places just doing photography, whether it's at a sports place or whatever. He's got like his big huge camera, right? Because like again, he likely made enough money where he doesn't have to work anymore. Now you just focus on doing whatever you want to have a good time. The last question that I have, Grace, I'm not sure if you've got more questions, but I love that you've got the data side to you. Are there any other interesting data trends or things that you've seen in that space that we should be paying more attention to? That could be tied to creator economy, how creators are making money, literally anything. But
Yeah.
any other trends that you're seeing?
I mean, I think there's a bunch. There's so much here that I think are super important. Is that like Sam Altman said it. He made a quote like I think like 2 months ago about this. He says, "We are entering the fast fashion era of AI." Or I mean the fast fashion era of SaaS. Sorry, the fast fashion era of SaaS, right? So like the ability to build a SaaS product is going to be unbelievably easy, right? So like, I don't know if you guys ever worked with like Lovable or like any of these AI products that like you can go and build like you can like be like make me a very fancy app and then it's done. Like and then like you're like what? Like that took like 1 minute. And so like especially like the more detailed that you have like so like technical work is just changing so quickly, right? And it's very exciting actually because it comes back to like, and I think that that's where designers actually have a very, very, very good place because at the end of the day, like this is something that tech workers are very freaked out about because they're like, does coding even matter anymore, right? And it kind of doesn't, right? But so it's like if you're very good at defining the requirements of your product, right, and you can make a doc that specifies what you want your app to do, right, and you can be very like specific, then you can have an AI build the app. And then it comes down to like, can you design it? Can you make it like, can you have it be tasteful? Can you like actually have like more of that? Like, and that's where like, I feel like AI design is still kind of like not great. Like, I don't know. I feel like I still pay designers. I still like, I'm not, I mean, I use AI all the time to code, but like for design work, I freaking am like, no, that's still a human. That's still a human. Like my logo is a human. Like I feel like every like image I have on my site is still AI. I mean, it's still human generated. Like because I every time I make an AI image, I'm like, you can tell. You could tell it's like you can, and I'm like, and then and I feel like if I make the AI image and people can tell, they'll like Zach's lazy, right? And like, but like one of the things that I think is important that like for creators and in this data space is that like the ability to monetize, the ability to build a product, the ability to build your own thing, your own platform, your own stuff. Like, because keep in mind, this tech creator platform that I'm building with AI and all that stuff, I don't have any engineers. It's just me. It's just me, right? I don't have any engineers who are doing this. It's literally me and AI, right? And it's like, and so like one of the things to remember is that like we are entering this era where like creators, because it's like that's the other Sam Altman quote I want to leave you guys with, is like Sam Altman said that like we are going to enter the era of like a one-person billion-dollar company, right? There'll be a company that has no employees that'll be worth $1 billion, right? And it's like, okay, what does that one person have that is going to be the secret sauce, right? Well, that one person's got to be able to sell. They got to be able to sell, right? That's like at the end of the day, that's like sales is the part of AI that still sucks, right? And so if they can sell and they can market, right, and they have some sort of like ability to get top of funnel, and then the rest of the implementation, right, is actually something that is getting shifted. It's getting shifted to like actually like Lovable and all these other products, right, that will allow for like just so much goodness. And then like you can, and especially if you leverage AI and you actually like just learn it, like, and you don't have this doesn't need a computer science degree. This doesn't need like a lot of the things that like it needed like 5 years ago, right? And that is why like I love Creator. I love Creator so much, because it comes back to like, what is the secret sauce of those billion-dollar companies? It's the unique story that you have, right? It's because the AI, right, at the end of the day, like when I talk to people about all this the technical skill stuff and like they're scared, is like at the end of the day, it's like AI, the only thing that AI will never be better than you at is you being yourself. Hopefully not. I mean, it might be able to be a better version of Grace. Who knows? Like, but like, hopefully not. If we're at that level of AI, like, we should be scared. But like, I feel like that's one of the last things, like the personal brand and the creator and like all that stuff is one of the very last, like when you think of how AI is going to advance over the next 10 years, that's going to be one of the very last barriers for AI, right? Is like, AI is not going to compete with Zach on being Zach. Right. So yeah, I'm excited though. I'd say that that's definitely something that every creator should be looking into, because it's so easy. It's so easy. It's getting scary easy. So that's what I'll leave you guys with. But yeah, this has been amazing. Dude, these pods are, whew, this is good. This is so good.
Yeah, I love it. You share so much great advice for our buddies here today. I loved hearing about all of it too. Then I agree. I'm making this is gonna be really, I think you're gonna love this, Zach.
Yeah.
I'm vibe coding two things. A dating app for designers, a dating
Good.
app for Fang only. And it's gonna have like TC on there, like your height is not your height, it's your TC. And then you can only match with other L2s if you're an L2, or you can choose you want to match with L4s.
The virality in that is,
So it's
is
like
peak.
it's
The
almost like
virality
blind.
is peak.
It's like blind for dating a little bit, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's a very good idea, honestly.
Thank you.
Like,
I'm
yeah, I
building
love
that
it.
right now. I'm making a TikTok
Yeah,
or a LinkedIn
yeah,
series out of it. It's rage
hmm
bait.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I love that. That's super good. Yeah, that's one of those that can go super viral. Like in that, like
Mhm.
you can get a lot of people on board, and like where you can
To
just like,
get in, you
especially
gotta
like
send your
in the
tax
Bay
return in.
Area.
Mhm.
That's such a Bay Area like Cupertino rage bait. Oh my god.
Yeah, it is. No, where I'm born and raised. So
Yeah,
yeah.
right.
Awesome. Yeah, this was so much fun. How can our buddies, how can our rich creators stay in touch with you? I've been calling
Yeah,
everyone
yeah.
rich
So,
creators now.
I would say you can find me. I'm the most famous Zach on LinkedIn. So Zach LinkedIn or Zach Wilson
The
LinkedIn. That's probably
69th most
the
followered account on LinkedIn.
yeah, right. Got it, right. And my other one is I'd say is going to be, you can look at Data Expert. If you look up Data Expert, that's going to be my academy. If you're interested in learning like AI, data science, data engineering, like we're going to launch a cohort. Or our next cohort is in a month. We're launching on September 15th. So yeah, we'll be doing a very intense one that's both analytics engineering and data engineering at the same time. So if you want to overdose in September on analytics and data
Overdose.
engineering, you can totally do that. So I would highly recommend that. So yep, I would say those are going to be the main places that you can find me.
Awesome. That was so lit. Got some big D energy. D for data. Big D energy. Big
Yeah,
D.
Big D energy. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, W's in the chat. Skibbities, Rizzlers,
I love it.
Sigma.